Hi, I'm Mike Alperin. I'm the moderator for this panel. I'm an industry consultant at TIBCO Software, where I apply data science and analytics to current manufacturing industry challenges. My own background is semiconductor product and process engineering. My company, the TIBCO platform, it has a kind of a comprehensive suite of capabilities for connecting to, integrating data. And in the analytics space, we kind of focus on data visualization, data science, and model ops. We can apply that to at rest and streaming data and deploy it locally or in the cloud. So we work with our customers to apply these capabilities across quite a broad range of use cases in industries, from energy to finance to manufacturing to retail and transportation. And we have a really terrific group with panel from the diverse worlds of banking, pharma, and consumer products. And so I'm very excited to hear how they're applying data science in their own work. So let's just jump right in and get started. So can each of you introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your background, as well as why and how you're currently using data science in your respective industries?
Yep. So I'll go first. My name is Salma Dojik. I'm still hearing a bit of an echo, so I don't know if the rest of y'all can go on mute. Maybe that'll help. So I currently work at Carter's, where I lead the Analytics Center of Enablement. I grew up in analytics, mainly focused on analytical transformations and enablement. So I've worked on data science teams at NCR, the Home Depot, and again now at Carter's. And before that, I was in public and nonprofit consulting, doing very similar work. We're using data science to better predict and anticipate our business, mainly in the supply chain, e-com, and store ops space.
Okay, Solomon, you want to introduce?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mike, for the opportunity to be here today with an awesome panel here. So my name is Solomon Madada. I work for a bank called Regions Bank, which has a strong presence in the Southeast. It's a Fortune 500 company. It's got $150 billion company, bank in the Southeast, predominantly operating in the southeastern region of 8 states. And it's been in business for a long time, and through mergers and acquisitions, actually, it grew to the size where it is now. I've been working with the bank since 2008 and 2 stints. I left the bank in 2013 and worked for another bank, building all enterprise data strategy, analytics platform, and everything. So I just came back last year to Regions again to join the Regions Wealth Management Division, which is one of the core lines of businesses that bring us significant revenue to the company. So we have a chief data analytics office that we started a couple of years ago at Regions. Really made a lot of transformations in terms of capabilities, enterprise data management, data governance, data science, and other things that come with data science, which is your model validation groups, your model risk groups, and things like that. Really, we're maturing and growing as a data science practice. And especially if I talk about the use cases that in our wealth management, we use the data science to primarily work for customer attrition models to make sure we're addressing the clients that need to be spoken at the right time before we lose them, or is there any cause for concern. We're trying to pick up those signals much ahead of time. And I have a presentation this afternoon at 2:50. I think I'm going to talk at length in all those things, the applications of the data science. And the other model that we have in place is called the next best solution, which is similar to the next best action. That is the industry, one of the industry use cases, to understand what would be the best product or service that a customer is looking for, so we can attend to them before they could reach out to us, or proactively get to market sooner. So there are not only this, but we have a lot of things in R&D right now, looking at different machine learning models to make sure we're able to serve our customers better. As you know, the financial markets are taking significant changes since COVID. More digital banking, more cashless systems, and things like that. So it's kind of changing the traditional banking models. So we're making sure we're using all the data science capabilities to stay in the game.
Oops. Thanks, Solomon. Mahmoud, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Mahmoud Shobair. I'm a data scientist at Procter & Gamble in the Organization of Human Safety. All right, so mainly have a passion for applying modeling in health sciences. Right, so currently I focus on safety of consumer products. For data science, we are really using it to try to make sense of multidimensional and complex data. We're trying to build data ecosystems so that we can have platforms to generate models, really. Just have a talk at 2 if you want more information. That's my background. Thanks.
I think that's a good start. So let's go to kind of the next question here. It would kind of, hopefully we kind of dive a little deeper into some of the use cases you have. But, if you think about all the things that you're working on and applying data science to, where do you see the biggest challenges and opportunities coming up in the next few years? And Selma, we can start with you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to start that answer. Our business has changed a lot given COVID disruptions and again, kind of the digital acceleration. So our customers are shopping differently, and we have to stay abreast of that and ahead of the curve. I'm still hearing a little bit of an echo, so I apologize for that. What that means for us is enabling more shopping channels and fulfillment methods, and also, again, kind of anticipating how our customers are going to shop and enabling kind of a frictionless experience. Another challenge that we have is kind of the lower birth rates, right? So as a baby apparel company, we've had to kind of shake things up. Given the nature of our business, our wholesale partners give us a kind of big opportunity for us to grab onto market share. So we're looking at how can we reach our customers deeper, right, in all the different places where they shop. And then we're also kind of designing apparel for older children and working to prioritize, again, a frictionless experience for mom. If she wants to shop online, pick up in store, we want to enable that. If she wants to order from the store and get it delivered to her front doorstep, we're looking to enable that. And then take that data, learn from it, and enable, again, an even better shopping experience. And then some even kind of broader challenges. We've always faced supply chain disruptions, right? Particularly around the peak holiday seasons, right? So looking to like meet SLAs, get product to mom faster in time for the holidays. With COVID, that's changed a lot, right? So what used to be challenging now is almost impossible. And we're looking to anticipate some of those transportation delays, some of those supply chain disruptions, so that we can make better decisions and then mitigate those disruptions. Yeah, and I think the other thing that I wanted to mention too is, which is so interesting with mom shopping so differently because of COVID, our calendar has shifted a little bit, right? So in the retail space, Black Friday used to be a really important event, and we used to really market to mom, Black Friday holiday season clearances, things like that. That's no longer the case, right? People are shopping online a lot more. Cyber Monday is a bigger deal, and they're also shopping a little bit more intentionally. So that kind of big spree shopping is less of an event for us now. And that's provided both a challenge and an opportunity, again, anticipating how mom is going to shop, and then kind of bending our business and our analytics strategy to meet that experience with mom.
I just have a very quick follow up. I mean, it seems like you're talking uh, about a couple of things here. One is maybe this kind of omni-channel experience, right? And the other is supply chain. And it seems to me that both of those could involve a lot of data from, is how big a bigger part of the challenge is that is just getting access to, the data.
It's a huge part of the challenge, right? I'm glad you brought that up. With Omnichannel, it's a little bit different in that we're able to capture a lot of that data, right? Like those transactions, whether they're online or in the store, they're being fed into our systems. Data quality and integrity is kind of a big issue or a consideration across the space anyway. I think everybody kind of faces issues with that, ensuring that the data that we're using is good data. In the supply chain space, it's a little bit different because sometimes we lose a little bit of visibility end to end, right? From the factory to the storefront or to our DC, into our warehouse. So capturing all of that data is in itself a challenge, but we've made strides in that with RFID, and then also building out a data lake, end-to-end supply chain data lake that kind of captures that data again from the factory to the warehouse.
Mm-hmm. All right, great, thanks. Solomon?
So I touched a little bit on the challenges we have as in the banking industry. So as the turf is changing to more digital platforms, consumers are actually not coming or coming less to the branches. So which means there's a lot of and again the new generation folks who never went into a bank. So things are changing in terms of banking experiences. Now people want to do a more mobile interactions. They people see less and less cash every day. So which means is even as a wealth management division, we see a lot of people who are now, for example, the Robin Hood or all this other cryptocurrencies coming into play, and the investments are going into different directions, and people are more interested in platforms that would enable them to do this transactions businesses. So that is in market challenges that we are facing right now to be able to cater to those needs for the consumer of the day. And internally, we have a lot of challenges like any other big enterprise. We have so many source systems that we get data from, different source systems, which is multiple large enterprise source systems to be able to get to the data quickly, to get to produce those insights, whether it's enterprise data lakes or data stores or which is what do you call more transactional data or storage data, things like that. So be able to bring them all together and be able to use them on a daily basis, and also make sure there's a big governance component that comes into play to make sure the data is clean, can be trusted, can be reliable, and is produced on demand, things like that. So the data governance piece actually plays a vital role in all our processes. So the challenges is just like Selma said about getting the data, making sure the data is right, and create a process which is more repeatable. Not we're not doing one time kind of exercise here to look at the data. We do those things on an ad hoc basis, but more like whatever we're producing are mostly repeatable relearning models that we are maturing our models throughout the time. So we are better off, like we started 2 years ago on the data science models. Now we have more data to make more better predictions over time. So, I mean, we have also the tools we have in play could be a challenge, because as an enterprise, we have to make decisions on the tools that cater to the enterprise, not to each individual divisions. So in the selection process, we probably don't have the market tech savvy tools and things like that, solutions we can quickly grab off the shelf and produce those. There is a process. They have to make sure everybody's on board, and it takes a long time to actually prove the case to get those things in place. So those are other things. So we have challenges in terms of the market conditions, the processes, and the technology, and of course the talent, the people that we need to have the right skill set to be able to work in this data science area, because data science is the most lucrative field today. It used to be like a pilot in 1970s, but now it's data scientist. So everybody wants to be a data scientist because of the nature, because of it's interesting to me as a data scientist, interesting to because it produces results. It provokes your mind thoughts of all these things that you can do with the data science, and plus the industry is consuming a lot of data scientists nowadays, so there's a lot of demand. So keeping them in positions to make sure they're retained and competing with other markets, they're trying to pull those data scientists for extra money, things like that. And the remote work culture that is in play today, which is now people don't need to move anywhere to find another job. I'm in Florida looking at the window at the beach, and I can get another job in 30 minutes, not move my house and work for a different company. So it's more flexible now for people to move across different companies. So that has become a challenge, skill set wise. So just to touch on all those areas.
Great, thanks. Oh. So, Mahmoud, you want to talk about the challenges and opportunities you're seeing?
Yeah, I just want to echo Salma and Selma. The data governance is a key thing in our field right now. We have challenges in translating how different data sources can be integrated for decision making. And the field is trying to leverage opportunities in data science to take advantage of really statistical approaches and computational infrastructure, because these can enable generation of model-ready data sets. Right? There are gaps that we're trying to fill. Like we want to fill and bridge data gaps needed for decision making. So data governance is definitely a key right now. Back to you.
Just a very quick question, maybe for anyone who wants to address it. I've heard governance brought up a couple of times. To what extent is that driven regulations, government regulations, and to what extent is that kind of driven by kind of internal need for quality data, quality results?
Yeah, so I'd like to answer that too. I think it goes beyond a little bit kind of regulations, right? So we have a broader enterprise architecture team that makes sure that and security team that makes sure that we're in compliance, right? But in the analytics space, it's really imperative for us because we need to know not only kind of who owns and supports that data and that infrastructure, but also to Mahmoud's point, how it plays together, right? Like how the different data sets interlocked and how we can make better decisions, data-driven decisions from them. So it's an imperative. There's no, like, we can't get around it without having some governance strategy. And I will say too, like, there's a lot of conversations around, whether we want to centralize the governance or federate the governance or have some hybrid model. And I think what I've seen across all the companies that I worked for, it almost doesn't matter. As it has to kind of be geared towards and tailored to the company, right? And the company's maturity level on the analytical journey. But it just matters that you have some strategy, some governance strategy, and that you stick to it.
Actually, I could add just a very tiny point to that. With regulation and government, it is a bigger impact and a problem in our field because we work in, making sure products are safe. So there are really thorough government requirements all over the world. It's a big challenge to have data governance in that regard because it's such a general, it's a global thing. Even in one country, right, you want to have, and I'll always have some of that in my talk as well. But there are rules and regulations in regards to how data is interpreted. Like so many companies, so many places have to interpret the same type of data kind of the same way, and we're not there yet. So in addition to the internal data governance, there's a bigger challenge in the globe. Like, think broadly, many companies, many institutions want to have some sort of agreement, right? It's like control vocabulary, something that we all agree on. That's also a big challenge. So data governance is external and internal in our field. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the to another kind of topic. Maybe if you could talk a little bit about something, you know, that's a current focus for right now. You know, what are you spending a lot of time, you know, doing at the moment?
Yeah. So in my role, my role is a little bit different in that sometimes I am, but oftentimes I'm not really kind of entrenched in coding and building out machine learning pipelines. What I'm more focused on is kind of the enablement. So I let my team of data scientists do their data science and data engineers do the data engineering. What I'm looking for holistically is how do we build a data inspired culture at Carter's? How do we move progressively towards advanced analytics? And so something that I've been kind of focusing on right now is, again, enabling advanced analytics across the organization. And what that looks like for me is enabling tools, technology, and training. So if we're looking, like I mentioned a little bit about the supply chain data lake, right? So we're looking to ingest and leverage new data sources from a part of the business, then we start building out a data lake, right, in the space of technology. If we have a business unit that wants to start doing some machine learning, we'll look to enable them through training and tooling, right? And then my team is also kind of focused on answering some of those big rock questions via advanced methodology. So I know I mentioned a little bit about kind of anticipating transportation delays and building out something like a decision tree that's going to identify the best course of action to minimize that disruption. So there are definitely some big kind of big rocks in terms of business questions that we're looking to answer. Me, on a kind of broader holistic scale, I'm just looking to enable the different business units to capture that data and leverage it to inform decision making.
Great, thanks. Solomon?
So I have the responsibility of you know, overseeing all the data analytics and governance for the wealth management business unit. So we have several business units that we support. You know, private wealth, institutional investments, retirement, you know, all this insurance trust and things like that. So we have so many business units we interact with. Supporting all these units on regular basis is a large task. So what we are trying to do is, it's been there for a little, not to the significant scope, but we have a setup of self-servicing capabilities for business users to use them, a little bit of reporting themselves, but not depending more on us to deliver the data. So they're waiting on us to do this, make those business decisions. So we are trying to improve the what do you call, the capabilities of self-service things, so that we can create those data for them so they can do quick business insights. And we're also helping them build large use cases. We're definitely helping them, but on the day-to-day basis, we want to get off on that day-to-day what do you call, ad hoc needs, so that they can, you know, serve themselves, like self-service. Every business, you know, every enterprise is going towards. So that's one of the big initiatives. The other thing is more providing the next step is to create some kind of a prescriptive analytics where we're already looking into the models where on the data science addressing the customer, knowing about the customer, 360 and things like that. But now we want to make sure that we can provide business with some things that they can take actions, maybe some predictive, or we already doing predictions based on data science, but some prescriptive analytics, like what they can do, be more proactive, instead of waiting until the last minute, until this customer transfers all the money to what do you call, like Robinhood or other significant platforms, investment platforms. How we can reach out to the customers and retain that money and provide better value for the customer in the long run, because I think we can be competitive in the market in terms of return on their investments, or provide a good service, a more personable service. So we are a regional bank, so we're more personable in service, as opposed to a larger banks who have millions of customers. So we have that advantage of being in the local markets. So using the data, so I think we can increase our footprint a little better, serve the customers more. Identifying what are the needs the customers have, because we have so many products and services portfolio, working with other business units. It's identifying that opportunities with all this high net worth clients, to make products, make sure we can address them in time. So those are the things. So basically, improving maturing our data analytics platform to more prescriptive analytics, and making sure we have all this data, reducing the time the data takes to be able to be consumable, right? All the steps that needs to come from mainframes to all this other systems and data warehouses, data lakes. So all this turns and things that the data has to take, we're trying to make sure we can consume the data faster, at the same time more reliable data.
Great, thanks. Mahmoud, how do you, what things are you focusing on, right now? Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry.
There you go.
You hear me now?
Yeah,
I was
we
just
can
saying
hear
there's
you
a lot of
now.
intersections. It's really back to the data governance thing, really. It's about data consumption, right? How, you want to go to decision making with models, right? That transition, how to interpret the data correctly and use it in the right context, because we have really large heterogeneous types of targets to model and many complex mechanisms. What we're focusing on generally in the field, and also PNG, is how to make these kind of workflows, data workflows, contextualization workflows, harmonization workflows, to integrate things, to make the data consumed more effectively and correctly in the right context, right? So you want, good data in, good models out. That's kind of where the field is right now, the focus.
And I will say too, just if I can kind of chime in, it seems like there's a lot of overlap and synergy in the work that we're doing, right? Ensuring that we're using quality data, quality infrastructure, and that piece on kind of self-service, enabling the business to use data to make those decisions quickly without us having to kind of spend the whole quarter spinning it up. I think that's a really kind of key pillar that a lot of companies are looking to establish.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like to some extent we've been kind of talking about kind of the business imperatives and maybe some of the high level use cases, but I'm wondering if we can kind of focus in a bit more kind of specifically on data, on the data science now. I'm sure you're using kind of machine learning and other advanced technologies. So I'm wondering, how do you see, data science and advanced analytics impacting your industry? And I think this could be an opportunity too, if you have you know, a use case that you want to go into in a bit more detail and maybe talk about some of the data science behind it, this would be a nice opportunity for that.
So I'll lead with that.
So,
and Mike, I hope you're not disappointed with my answer being a little bit more high level, but again, I think it's just kind of like the nature of my role. When it comes to data science in the industry, I think that because we've seen so much disruption and because we're looking to kind of move very quickly in changing our business to meet our customers' needs, what we've been looking to do is kind of employ a citizen data scientist program, again, where we're enabling the business units to conduct their own advanced analytics. And a part of that also comes from like enabling platforms that are going to help us do that quicker. And not having to do a lot of, and having kind of reusable pipelines or kind of mainframes that we can use, right, when we're answering similar use cases. So looking to leverage some features from AWS, such as forecasting, or a platform such as Data Robot that can help us kind of evangelize and also democratize data science at our company. Again, that's because we used to be a company that was filled with, you know, designers, right? Because we're creating baby clothes, and then IT was really meant there to kind of keep the lights on. But because our business is changing so much, we're looking to kind of enable advanced analytics much quicker than we are able to kind of hire those data scientists. And obviously they exist. Obviously they're in the company and the spaces of kind of you know, marketing, again, store ops and supply chain. A couple of use cases that we found were interesting to kind of look at was so sales, particularly around like a specific shopping period, so Labor Day sales, and kind of what were the main features that drove that drove Labor Day sales. Weather ended up being one of them, and not just kind of like what the temperature was like, but also what the weather event was. So if there was a hurricane, obviously that store wasn't going to get a lot of sales, even though it was Labor Day. And we employ just a kind of regression modeling in that. Then I know I keep mentioning the supply chain use case, but that's really top of mind for me, particularly given the big disruption, right? And so kind of building out a decision tree that's going to become a recommendation engine for our business to be able to kind of choose the next best course of action to mitigate some of those delays. And then also a little bit outside of data science, but making that available and usable for the business. And so I think that's something that we don't think about too much, but it's like we can build these models, but if we don't translate them to leaders, if we don't make them usable, they end up just kind of sitting on the shelf. And so the models and the recommendation will end up kind of feeding into a dashboard, to Solomon's point, that becomes kind of self-service. So they can see kind of what product from origin to destination is going to be late or is anticipated to be late, and then they'll have a recommendation on what that next best course of action will be, and they'll be able to action on that without having to go to my team or somebody in IT to kind of tell them, hey, what should I do? They'll be able to use that data and make their decisions. And then something else that I kind of want to talk about, I don't know if we'll get to later, but along the lines of kind of predicting, right, like Labor Day sales and kind of identifying the features that would that impact sales. We also looked at foot traffic, because with COVID, obviously, and store closures, we saw a big change in the way that people were shopping and coming into the stores and things like that. And so this was a great use case to test out and POV Amazon's forecasting feature to see kind of if it was able to if we could hone in on Amazon's proprietary modeling. So again, a little bit of that data science democratization to predict store traffic, foot traffic, right? Whether or not mom is going to come into the store, and how that looks, you know, a month down the line, 2 months down the line. So there are some of those things that we're looking to answer. But I think for me, kind of the theme of it all is democratizing data science and embedding it within the business units.
Great. Yeah, that's Yeah, that's real interesting. I mean, I'll just make a quick comment. That's something I'm seeing a lot with our customers too, is the desire to train up whole almost armies in some cases of citizen data scientists there. So it's kind of it's exciting and it's kind of frightening at the same time. It's like, how are we gonna keep track of what all these people are doing, and
and ensure
so.
kind of the integrity of it, right? That the people who are like delivering these insights actually know what they're doing. So
Right.
I echo that it can be frightening.
Yeah. Yeah, but very exciting too.
Yep.
So, okay, Solomon, let's see if you could take maybe 2 minutes to kind of, walk through, a specific use case or that you're doing.
Yeah, sure. I think another huge use case in banking is risk. So we have a big risk department headed by Chief Risk Officer, and we actually kind of cater the needs for three different areas of risk. One is compliance risk, other one is operational risk, and then reputational risk. So, and the huge part of the compliance is BSA/ML. So we are applying this, data science, machine learning, and looking at different relationships between different accounts for possible money laundering type activities. So huge use case there, and our data science teams are actually actively working and catering to some of those needs in BSA areas, which is also applicable to other risk areas in terms of, what would be the possible. I mean, we're not international, so we are in the southeast region of the U.S., but we still have clients who have foreign addresses, non-resident, addresses. So those kind of things, and we have to monitoring those accounts, making sure assigning up appropriate risk categories, and making sure we can actually have reviews, periodic reviews, to make sure we're on target for not only compliance standpoint, but also the reputational risk that's at hand. So risk is a huge another use case for us in banking right now.
Great, thanks, Mahmoud.
Yeah, sure. It's also risk in my department. It's about risk assessments. It's just the main focus in the field right now. A specific thing is going on is actually generating the data, because we have a goal to generate data differently in the field. We used to rely on animals and to kind of estimate what happens in the human body. Right now, we in order to actually implement machine learning models, that's like the goal, right? In a few years, we're actually generating data differently, right? So we have to have this kind of, not extrapolation, but connection, right? You have to kind of say, what I'm observing here, I need to extract insight to something that I can model. So there's like a lot of data generation, right? Interpreting, experimental design. It's really statistical elements involved here. Data interpretation. What does this mean? Is this really relevant to what I'm looking for to make a decision? Right. So that's the specific case. Thank you.
Okay, so it looks to me, I don't know if we're going to get cut off or, but it looks like maybe we've got another minute. So I'm going to start this lightning round really quickly, and maybe just a couple of sentences about this, and we'll see how long they let us keep going. So this lightning round question is, what do you think is going to be like the most impactful kind of data science application in your industry, going forward in the next few years?
I feel like I've been kind of a broken record, but I know that supply chain is one of the biggest challenges across retail, but particularly in our space. Customers want their product fast, and leveraging data science to be able to again predict like our SLAs and then also provide recommendations on how to improve them, I think is going to be one of the most impactful uses of data science in our industry.
All right, great. Thanks, Solomon.
Yeah, for us, I think it's digital enablement. Completely, what do you call off-branch activities mostly. So understanding how the consumers are changing. I think we're seeing that in every banking industry that there are less and less branches over time. So enabling those customers to make sure everything they can do from home. We are now able to close houses just sitting at the house, not going to any closing offices. So the mortgage process is completely now, thanks to some of this technology savvy companies that disrupted the whole mortgage process and disrupted the whole the payment industries, and now you see all this buy now pay later type coming more often. So all this what do you call it, they all boil down to one thing, which is mobile enablement. The consumer wants to do everything on the phone right there. So as long as that'll be the huge thing in the financial industry as well.
Right. Yeah, I love the the commercials where you get your little coin and you buy your car online, you put the coin in the vending machine, and out comes your car, right? Without ever going into a dealership. I'm still waiting to do that, but Mahmoud.
Yeah, just one sentence. Can tell you what's the most impactful right now. It's really having the capability of really integrating complex data sets in various series of how do you integrate these together like a puzzle, to actually use them to make decisions. So data integration.
Right.
Yep. Thank you.
Right. Seems like you're dealing with some of the stuff that we see too, especially in kind of, high-tech manufacturing with just gigantic amounts of data, to that you can use to predict everything on the factory floor to what's going on with the products. And yeah, so I think we're out of time. So yeah, let's call it a wrap. And I want to thank everyone. Thank you, Selma and Solomon and Mahmoud. And I feel like I've learned a lot, and I wish I could keep this going for another half hour or so, but I think we're out of time. So anyway, thank you, and appreciate everyone who attended this. So thanks to the panelists.
Thank you, Mike, and the data science team.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.